Hey, everybody, thanks for joining us. We are doing the integumentary system, which it can be like skin, hair, and nails, but here we're really probably focusing more on skin more than anything. And so, we think of our skin as just like being like, oh, I have a rash or I have smooth skin. But the thing that also goes along with the skin is the ability to get rid of waste product. When the skin is not functioning well, usually our body doesn't detoxify very well. Um, when we stimulate the skin, it makes the lungs, the liver, the gallbladder, the kidneys, the spleen, makes all these aspects function better. It's also tied to protective mechanisms in the body, and it also is tied to like maintaining water balance in the body. So our skin is more than just the way it looks or a rash or something like this. A lot of times, even going through and treating the skin, I've noticed that it can shift your mood, which implies an impact on brain chemistry. And energetically, it's also tied to the health rays, your ability, again, to detoxify, your ability to absorb energy and to expel energy off. And it is connected also to lymphatic function. So even though we're just working the skin, it still is an important thing to be working. So with that, we're going to use out of your kit skin support. So pull out the skin support. And with your skin support, let's begin on the left-hand side of the body. We're doing the standard approach. So your awareness is on the left side of the face and neck, your left shoulder and ribs, your left hip, down the outer part of the left leg to the left outer ankle. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Now move your awareness to the front side of the body, the front quadrant. Your face, your throat, your chest, your abdomen, your front of your pelvis, down the fronts of your legs, all the way down to the tops of your feet. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. The right side of your body, right side of your face and neck, your right shoulder, your right ribs and hip, all the way down the outer leg to the right outer ankle. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then the back side of the body, the back of the head and neck, your whole back, your hips, the backs of your legs, all the way down to your heels. And then pause and be still. How's that feeling for you? Pause and be still. So that is the standard approach. And again, we integrate the standard approach into either a daily practice, something that's integrated into a therapeutic approach where you might be doing other things for the skin, something topical, a tincture or whatever it might be. And then you could also be utilizing it for a stack, Auric programming stack. But now we're going to go through and we're going to do the advanced approach. So this is something that you might do once or twice a week. You let your body shift, and then, in 3 or 4 days or another week, you do it again. Okay, so again, you're using skin support. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Your awareness is on the left side of the body, left side of the face and neck, your left shoulder, all the way down to the left outer ankle. Now, the back side of your body, back of the head and neck, your whole back, your hips, down the backs of the legs to the heels. Nice, long, slow, deep breath with your awareness on the back side. The right side of your body, the whole right side of your face and neck, your right shoulder, all the way down to the right outer ankle, You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. The front side of the body. The whole front side. Your face and throat, your chest, your abdomen, all the way down the front of your pelvis, the front of your legs, to the tops of your feet. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And pause and be still. You're just pausing and being still for a moment. Begin inhaling. Your awareness is on your knees, either your whole knee or the backside of your knee, where it bends. Nice, long, slow, deep breath. And then the ankles. Your awareness is on the ankle. And then the soles of your feet. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the soles of your feet. And then pause and be still. Just pause and be still. Hey, let's do the 4 quadrants again. Left side of your body, left side of your face and neck, your left shoulder, left ribs, all the way down the left outer leg to the left outer ankle. Nice, long, slow, deep breath. Move your awareness to the front side of the body, your face and throat, your chest, your abdomen, front of the pelvis, down the fronts of the legs to the tops of the feet. Your awareness is on the right side of your body, right side of your face and neck, your right shoulder, right ribs and hip, all the way down to the right outer ankle. The back side of the body, the whole back side, the back of the head and neck, your whole back, your hips, the backs of your legs to your heels. The whole back side of the body. That's a straight. And then pause and be still. Hey, you're being still for a moment. Your awareness is on the brain. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. your spine. Your awareness is on your spine. Your brain and spine both at the same time. Your brain and soles of your feet both at the same time. As you inhale, move your awareness up above the ankles. As you exhale, down into the earth. Inhale up, exhale down into the earth. Just pause and be still. Pause and be still. Just let everything go. You're just being still. Okay, how do you feel? A lot of times, like I said, when we jumpstart the skin, the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, the spleen all start to detoxify. So let's go ahead and do some shares, ask questions. You can unmute yourself, type in. Let's process this.
And let's keep it specific right now to the Auric program, the skin support here, and then I'll cue you guys when it's time for regular Q&A. Feel free to type in, and if you want to raise your hand to share or ask a question, there's a button that's called React with a little heart above it. You click that, and then it says raise hand. If you have a hard time figuring that out, just type over to me in chat. We'll get you unmuted so you can chat. I just wanted to share, like it was knocking me out. A lot of them knock me out, especially when we do the advanced approach. But after, I'm like, you can tell it was doing something more, like more for your systems,
Right, right.
It was like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's skin support, but it felt like it was hitting something, more
yeah,
even.
yeah. Like a deeper effect or
Hmm. Someone said dropped bottle and napped.
a good for you.
Yeah. Guess this was a quiet share night. Maybe it knocked people out more than they realized
Yeah.
too, because I was gonna say some of them really have that effect where
Mhm.
it's just like, and you almost don't expect it.
Mhm.
And so feel free to keep typing into the chat, but maybe we'll just,
Switch over.
yeah, so go ahead and raise your hand if you have a regular question for Q&A. Feel free to type in any regular Q&A questions. And next week is week 22, which your oil is going to be alignment, and it is invocative action. So, sounds like a juicy one for next week too. So, hope you enjoyed today, though, guys. We will get started here on our regular Q&A. Give me one sec. Perfect. Go ahead, Denise.
Hey.
You should be able to unmute yourself naturally today.
Hi. Hello. Thank you.
Hey,
Thanks, Sam. I really wanted to ask you about our May 17th, May 18th, Healing the Digestive System. You mentioned that you guys might put that PDF maybe online, or should I just go ahead and copy it from the library? That's kind of what I'm wanting to know. Because then you thought maybe it wouldn't maybe be appropriate completely online. So
No, we're gonna get it. We have it. There's a lot of editing to do on the workbook. So yeah, it's on like my end. I'm working on it. It
okay.
will definitely be, and it's gonna be much more like searchable and good for you guys. It's gonna be the same information that's in that PDF you guys got for the class, but that information is going on the website with links and things like that. So it's a little easier, but takes so many hours to do, and I don't want to make it public until it's, more user friendly.
I just was kind of deciding if it was time to go ahead and print the PDF from class. That was kind of it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll print that and then I'll check it out when you get it more refined. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you both very much. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
And go ahead, Lolly.
Hey.
Hi. Well, the weekend was amazing, so thank you so much. It was so good to see you guys in person.
Yeah, it was great to see you too.
So
Yeah.
thank you. And the skin right now was great. It's amazing really how something that you don't even think about really kind of knocks you out.
Right.
So a few things. I guess I'll start with this one. So basically, you know how you say that it's good that we kind of, doze off a little bit when we do the oil practices and all of that stuff. Which I get it. What I'm wondering about is when we do stuff like, let's say, even what we did with Astara on Sunday, and I was like completely out. Is does that work? Is that the same thing? Like, is that each time that we're doing some kind of a process and we're dozing off or like really checked out, a good thing, or does that mean like, especially when doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think like for you, you are dealing with a lot of body stress over a period of time, and you know when you're sitting in meditation, like for those of you, like what she's saying is like when we started doing the star processes, you know, she started kind of like dropping down and conking out, and you know, I'd say on one level, it is good to unwind. It is good to like de-stress or unwind the stress in the body. For deeper meditations, that would be maybe a sign that maybe the body's getting a little too overwhelmed by the spiritual energy. But for the kind of things we were doing, either with the oil classes or some of the stuff that we were doing with the star over the weekend, I would say it was probably more in the de-stressing phase. And so I would say it's not really is it good or is it bad? It depends on what you're doing. And so when you're in that de-stress phase, that's good. Your body's letting go, you're unwinding, you're you know going into rest and repair mode and things of that nature. But in deeper practices, I mean, they have to be a much deeper practice. You kind of want to be able to keep the body in a place that it can handle a substantial amount of energy. And so I would say, you know, in other applications, it might not be the best. But for what we were doing, I think it was just fine. Yeah.
Okay, because I was really wondering about that
Yeah.
aspect, if it's like too much
I mean,
energy
you
and
just came from a war zone and your body's all, you know,
yeah,
stressed out and freaked out. And, you
yeah,
know,
and some lack
even
of
though you
sleep
didn't
and yeah,
see exactly things happening, it sounded like there was a couple incidences that were pretty sketchy. And, you know, plus you're just swimming in all the tension over there. So, I mean, you know, uh,
yeah,
it wasn't surprising to me.
yeah,
So, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I was like, oh, good. She's like unwinding and letting go. Like,
yeah.
I was in the
Okay,
place where that was a good thing, you know.
yeah. Okay,
It
good.
takes a
Thank
lot of, I mean, isn't that the whole like big first piece of transcendental meditation is you're just, isn't it? Like
I mean, that's part of, I
yeah,
mean,
you're de-stressing.
yeah.
You're like letting go of all kinds of stress in the body and
Mhm.
unwinding and and in there don't they allow them like if they fall asleep
Oh yeah, over there
in
too.
the
Yeah,
thing like they
yeah.
just
It's a
say
good thing.
like go
I
go for it.
I used to for many years actually practice that. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So same idea.
Okay, because I was asking specifically because I know that with some meditations you actually want to be present, and I was wondering if my body just can't handle the energy, but it makes sense how
Well,
you have
I
like
would
that.
say to do deep meditations, it's hard to do deep meditations when your body is stressed out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the body, you know, I use myself for an example is that, you know, when back in the day when I was in an organization, you know, we had these meditations that we would do, and I would sit and I would do them, and you know, I'd do them well.
Hmm.
And then I'd fly over to the Philippines for the big retreat, and you know, there's usually about 24 hours of travel, and you know, you're on a different time zone and everything. And we do a very simple meditation, and I was like, "Bleh." You know, I could barely keep my head up, and
Hmm.
you know, that was the body was stressed and it was tired.
Yeah.
And so, in that case, the body got overwhelmed with energy very easily.
Yeah.
And so, and it was de-stressing. And so usually when I would get there, I would go a little bit early, and the first day or two, I would just sleep, lay in bed, eat a little bit of food, go back to bed. Like, I would just sleep off whatever, the travel did to me so that I could do the meditations proper,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I wasn't the only one having the issue. Like you could look around the room and even the higher ups were having the same issue.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
it's just a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, makes sense.
I would say it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
And then at the same time, I could do a meditation that there's not, like, even though the body is tired, if the meditation is completely not, I'm not even getting anywhere with that, I'm still not going to get anywhere with that, even if the body is tired. Like certain meditations that even that I used to do more often, not the
Mhm.
meditations with you. I find that sometimes I do that and my mind is just, it's like somebody would sit in front of me and just talk to me about stuff as opposed to I'm actually meditating. Like I
Right,
can't connect
right, right,
at all.
right.
Yeah. So okay. So thank you for clarifying
Yeah,
that.
because even, that's the thing that the point that I have made through the years. I haven't made a big deal about it, but when we talk about intellect and intuition is, even the thing with doing like the same meditation over and over again, at some
Mm-hmm.
point, the slippery slope is that your intellect starts impersonating what that meditation is.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't always go, we're going to do this meditation. We're going to do it 3 nights a week. We're going to do like, these are the steps and da 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 da. We do this like exploration, and I find it to be quicker and deeper than always doing the same thing over and over again, because that is it, is like, yeah, okay, I can keep my body up and not unwind, but am I even really doing the meditation? You know what I mean? Like there's some part of it, because
Oh
my
yeah.
my mind's a busy mind. Like back in the day, I would sit there and I would hold the posture and I would do the
Mm-hmm.
things, and put my awareness on the different centers, but my mind was like pap, 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 pap,
Yeah.
pap, the whole time. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, I was doing the meditation, but was I really?
Yeah.
Like I really started to question it, and I started to notice that if I could like do that same meditation sometimes, but when I really felt it from the inside out, I got so much more out of it than just firing it off, daily.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got some benefit from it doing daily, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I like the way we do stuff is, even when I hang out with some of my friends from different traditions that are like a lama or something, and they say something very similar to how we do things, here
Mm-hmm.
at either Astara or at Plan Prana, and which is really just two sides of the same coin.
Mm-hmm.
That, it's more about genuinely doing it, even if it's for a short amount of time, rather than going through the
Yeah.
motions, you know.
Yeah. Because I really
Yeah.
got to that point and then I started questioning myself. Can I
Sure.
not meditate
Yeah,
anymore?
yeah,
What?
yeah.
And
Right.
then each time I do anything with you, I'm like, oh no, it's apparently not me.
Yeah.
I can still
Yeah,
meditate
yeah.
because whatever you're doing each time, really, you don't even know. I don't know what to expect, and so it just
Right.
goes to wherever it's going. So, and yeah, so thank you. I really appreciate that. So okay, then a couple of oil questions.
Mhm.
Going back to the week. If we're talking about really detoxing, like the liver, when we talk about tonic, I never know how to pronounce it. Sam's tonic that I was the one that
ECF?
ECF, yes. Thank you.
Mhm.
So if I'm doing like detox with the oils, is there a better time of day to get, like doing it in the morning as opposed to the evening, or doing it, I mean, 3 times a day? Is there time that the
I
body
how do you tell them to take the ESAC? Is it just like in the morning or?
Honestly, you can do it at any time, but
Yeah, that's what I would think.
yeah, you can do
Yeah.
it at any time.
I,
It's not like a stimulant, so it won't keep you up
right.
at night.
I,
It's not gonna.
I mean, so like she said, you could do it at any time, but if you're looking at the idea of like using it for detoxification, you're going to detox more when you're more in rest and repair mode. So I would shoot for more towards the end of the day or in the evening before you go to bed. Not
Mhm.
exactly right before bed, but like, a couple hours before bed.
Yeah.
Or a day where, how sometimes you go, okay, I'm going to have a rest and repair day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take it easy. Might take a salt bath and sit outside, and, that would be a good day to do it. If you're having a busy day, it would still have an impact, but I would shoot more for, it's kind of like how we were talking about meditation. You might as well do it when your body is in a deeper level of rest and repair, so the
Mm-hmm.
detoxification is deeper.
Okay. Yes, makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay. Thank you. And then another thing I've been dealing
Mhm.
with, my nose, it's actually been better the last couple of days. So hey, maybe I found the magic, what I need. My acting up when I was traveling. Then I came back and it was still kind of running, like either like allergy or, and I started thinking it could be related to my body being under stress, could be related to some allergy. And I'm taking quercetin, rosemary verbena, golden seal, what else? Molan. The thing that I
Mhm.
added a couple days ago is German chamomile, which I haven't
Mhm.
taken in a while. Um,
Mhm.
I'm doing that actually. I think the last couple of days I've been doing it twice a day, even. I do feel better. Today felt a
Yeah,
little
the German chamomile would
so.
do it. Dark blue tansy, yeah, both of those would have a like an antihistamine effect, but also like a calming, soothing effect on, agitated nerves. Because even if you look at like allergies, it's still kind of sympathetic nervous system dominant activity. There's still like an agitation in the body. And so, um, anything like that would work. There's other oils that you can use like Melissa, Greenland moss. An easy one to use for allergies and anything respiratory is also Naoli. It's like it's in
Oh
the
yeah, I
tea
have.
tree family.
Yeah, yeah, and I actually
And
have
it's
that.
in it's in allergy support. You
Yeah,
know, and so yeah, like those, like they strengthen the body, but they calm down the agitation and sure.
and this one, yeah, because I've been using all the other ones, and I'm like, why? What's happening?
Hmm.
With the Neoli, would you use it? Because yeah, I have it using it internally, like I would use any of the other ones.
Yeah, I would probably, you could take a few drops internally, but I would still put it on the body. Like I would still
Oh,
put
okay,
5, 6 drops on the body. You could do it in a body tonic or just like a little bit of alcohol and rub it and then rub it on that way.
okay,
Um, uh, you could do it in an ointment. You could do it as a salt bath. You could do some
okay,
version of that. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, sure.
And with the German chamomile, it's okay to take it twice a day, right? Like, and if I'm
Yeah,
doing
okay to take
two
it
to,
twice a day, but after about 3 or 4 weeks, maybe give
yeah,
yourself just a
yeah,
week off with that.
yes,
Like you're good for a month.
yeah, I do,
two
I
two or
do.
three times a day is easy.
Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay. And actually what I also been doing, so maybe that's also been helpful. I've been using the oh my God, there we go. Health Rays. So the Health Rays
Hmm.
body tonic.
Hmm.
I've been doing that like the last few days. I've been actually really doing that every day.
Oh, good.
So
Yeah.
that's possibly been helping as well. So okay, now that okay, but then I'll add that to the mix. Okay, thank you. One last question, again
Hmm.
related to the digestive. You mentioned something, a few of the processes that you did was about the esophagus, and you mentioned that sometimes if there's a problem with like swallowing bigger pills, it could be that something kind of needs to be worked out in that area.
And what was it? The
The
esophagus?
esophagus, yeah.
Esophagus thing.
Right.
And
Mhm.
I mean, I always don't have easy time doing that, but just like a couple of weeks ago, I realized the pill that I take when when I really feel not well or whatever, I just couldn't even deal with that. So I'm wondering if it's that. So
Yeah,
like,
you can get tension in the esophagus at uh, any given time. It can be stress related. Sometimes I get it. It could be stress. It could be that I'm fatigued, which also is another way of saying stress because then I'm not sleeping good. Things like
mm-hmm.
that. But also when people are mad at me, because
Oh yeah, that's
they project energy, and then it hits the heart, and it throws
mm-hmm.
that into a spasm. And
Wow.
most times I'm not even aware that somebody's mad at me. It's not like we're having these interactions and we're saying smart aleck things to each other. It's usually something that is brought to my awareness after the fact, and I'll just go, what's going on here? And then I find that some small group of people or a big group of people are super upset at me. I mean, I still kind of do some, very quietly, I do some corporate work still, and it usually is that people, an organization or a business or a group of people within a business maybe didn't like what I had to say, or I helped and the people I was working for get a leg up on somebody, and they get pissed at me. It's something like that usually.
Yeah.
Some like weird
Okay.
competitive thing, or you know what I mean. And like I'm oblivious. I'm just like la 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 la, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So you know the thing to do is usually for me, I like to take a salt bath when I start to get that weird kind of like spasmy thing in the esophagus, and then I use like anise or fennel,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes even caraway, but usually anise is my go-to thing.
I should.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know why I need to get anise. It's one of the only ones. Yeah, I need to get that.
Hmm.
ANS as well. Can I use that?
Anise apart, some of the other oils in that aren't necessarily specific to the esophagus. I mean, if there's a blend, there was a blend. Did we make one called Aerophagy?
Yeah,
There's a blend from a while back called Aerophagy that is
which you
like
mentioned that.
anise and fennel and all that. But
Okay.
I like anise, so I don't take it every day, but I have like a tincture and then a little bottle of it. And when I take it for several days, and then I won't use it for a while. But I like
Mm-hmm.
it because it's kind of soothing. It's balancing to the nervous system. It usually calms that down, calms down the swallowing mechanism. I feel that I breathe better because of it, and then you know. It just makes the digestive system work a little bit better. So I kind of
Yeah.
just use it as a tonic from time to time. I don't
Mm-hmm.
really think about it until I need it. And then it's usually like I have this little area with my stuff that I use, and I pull it out and I use it for a few days, and then I don't think about it again for a while.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I really need to order anise. And then for the class, he also mentioned doing like a protocol, and one of the oils was also vetiver. Do would that work as
Yeah,
well? I'm doing just inhalations.
for the esophagus,
Yeah.
vetiver could work. I find that anise works a bit better, but I,
Okay.
I mean
Oh, I
vetiver
can do
is with
inhalations with anise. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I have a small size, so it's fine. I can work with that. But to take internally, I'll order it. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And thank you. That makes a lot of sense because especially when I was traveling, the more like people are upset at me was very
Yeah,
present.
and I mean, you're going to a war zone, and so even if it's not directed at you, it's still like up in the air, and it's that
I,
radiatory energy, and it just is what it is. There's certain cities that I go to where, um, I don't go to them very often, but it's in the city. Like,
Yeah.
it's usually a really big city, but it's, certain
And
parts of town or, and you just kind of come out of there and you're like, I need a salt bath.
yeah.
Yeah.
And also for me, it's like if I feel like somebody's upset with me, and especially if I feel like my dad is something between us is not okay or he's upset with me, I
Hmm.
don't deal well with that. When
Hmm.
I kind of clean things up, then I can all of a sudden breathe better and I feel better. And I'm like, oh, that was why I had this,
Hmm.
issue.
Sure. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so thank you. That was a good point, and
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
order the honest. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
And then go ahead, Heather, then Ralph.
Hey, Heather.
You should be able to just unmute yourself. There
I
you go.
figured that out. Okay. Hello.
Hey,
Hey,
how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for, gosh, whatever day that was with the Astara. That was different. I enjoyed that.
Oh,
Um,
good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
yes. Do you know if the recording will be shared at all? If I could get a
From what I
copy?
Yeah,
understand, they're going to post it just up on the YouTube channel.
yeah,
So
it'll be
Oh,
it'll
okay.
be up. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Val usually takes a few days, she'll probably put it out like midweek or towards the end of the week or something.
Oh, very good. Okay,
Yeah.
exciting. Um, my question, I emailed, so I kind of wanted more of a quick response. So disregard my email now. But
Okay.
my dog, I have a big dog. He's an old
Okay.
English bulldog. He's like 90
Oh, nice.
pounds,
Yeah, yeah.
cute little thing. But he has breath that I call death breath. It is
Yeah.
beyond bad breath, and it just has to get better. We've done, like additives to the water and whatnot, and that just does not work. Now, we don't really know what's going on, if there's an infection or whatnot, but at least to try to throw some oils at it, I was hoping
Yeah.
there'd be some
Sure.
suggestion. I didn't know if we could use clove
Yeah, I
oil
mean
like you
it's
mentioned for humans.
probably something going on somewhere in the digestive system, and it might not even be an infection. It could just be, you
Hmm.
know, like a fermentation or things just aren't working quite well. Um,
Yeah, he
you,
eats
you know,
raw
with
like raw
animals, I always
chicken.
like to kind of start with basil, and you can try, like taking a little bit of basil and like some alcohol or something and rubbing it on his spine. That could still help the digestive process, but it might even be that at some point you need to get a little bit of basil in him. And so the way that I would do that is put like a drop in water and like a kind of a glass of water, and then from time to time take like a little syringe out and, get some of the water. So you're not giving him the whole drop at a time, and then just kind of shoot it down his throat and, maybe do that daily. And that would be
Okay.
the second thing that I would try with that.
Basil. Okay. He
Yeah.
loves basil between his shoulder blades. He
Does he
loves
really?
that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
he's like, oh,
So
you
it's
got the
so soothing
yeah.
to an animal. Like it's so soothing. Yeah.
Normally, if you put the bottle in front of him, he'll bark. But if I go with the
Right.
basil, for some reason, he just puts his head down, like, okay, I'll take that.
Right.
Um,
So if you're
so
already putting it like
basil.
between his
Go.
shoulder blades and stuff, then I would say I'd just jump right into giving it to him internally.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's
Now,
not helping the breath that way, it's
no.
probably just like, an imbalance of, you know, enzymes or bacteria or something like that. And,
Yeah.
usually with animals, I try to keep it really simple because they don't always, not all of the plants would agree with an animal. But basil we know does. And so
Right.
I kind of use that as a starting point, and it would help. I mean, it's like even in a person, it's like what you would give somebody who had like say food poisoning or something. And so basil does do some digestive things, and calms and soothes the nerves, and it's just good on so many levels. And so I would see
Okay.
if you can get some of that inside him. Yeah.
Now, for inside, like our food that we feed him is like a ground up raw chicken. So I
Sure.
could actually just put the drops right into the ground chicken, but is that not quite
Yeah,
as
no, if
effective?
if he'll eat it, like I would say it depends on the dog's personality. Like I used to have this little dog that when we need to give him a little pill or something, I'd take like cheese and I'd rub cheese all over it and everything, and he would sit, eat the cheese, and he didn't see me doing it, and he'd eat the cheese all the way around it and then spit the pill out. Like, and so, if he'll eat it, then I'd say
Yeah.
go for it. But if he's like super finicky about stuff like that, then get it into him however you want. But just probably one drop. Like that's probably all I'd do.
Oh, okay. 1 drop of basil. We'll try that.
Yeah.
Like, what's the thought on how long to do that before we may see an
I'd say
improvement?
try it for the next week, and then maybe this time next week, let's talk and see how it's going
Okay.
and see if the breath has changed, and if not, we'll try something different. But like I'd say at least give it a week.
Okay, fingers crossed. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
You're so
I
welcome.
think that's all I had today. Yeah.
Good, good.
All right. Thank you.
And then go ahead, Ralph, then Danelle.
Hey, Greg, I got a
Hey, hey.
question for the auric and somatic section that we just did.
Sure.
I was experimenting with doing the auric and somatic programming in conjunction with the crown breathing process from this weekend.
Mhm.
Am I breaking anything by experimenting with that?
No, you're not
Or
breaking anything. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily refine the aura, but you're
Mhm.
not breaking anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, tonight was very effective in getting me to the yawning a lot,
Yeah.
eye
Yeah, it would be
watering,
very good
drop
for
the
the nervous
bottle,
system.
want to
Yeah.
take a nap state, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Good for
O-
you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Danelle.
Hey, hey.
Hey there, Greg. So I had a couple of questions. The first
Sure.
one is regarding a friend of mine. She does have diabetes, and
Okay.
they were diagnosing her at Mayo Clinic with chronic fatigue,
Sure.
and fibromyalgia and low B12. So I told her I would just ask you if there's anything you recommend. Specifically, I think the worst part of all this is the inflammation she's experiencing, and then the horrible fatigue.
Sure. Um, so is she newly diagnosed with blood sugar issues?
Um, I would within the last 6 months, she definitely is overweight, unfortunately, and doesn't have the greatest diet.
So I would do a couple of things. One would be the burra bean, that stuff you get from the health food store. It's a combination of like goldenrod, golden seal, barberry, and let's say there's like a type of turmeric that's in
Okay.
there.
Is it
Eh, eh,
BER?
BER, I think BERB.
BERBERINE.
Yeah, there you go. Berberine.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I never say it right. Berry bean.
Better be, yeah.
But I would do that, and I would also use bitter melon, again from the health food store. And both of these things are very inexpensive and everything. But I,
Okay.
I would probably take like 2 or 3 capsules of each a couple of times a day. And the thing is that it will help to lower the blood sugar, and it will also reduce some of the effects that the elevated blood sugar has on the body,
Okay.
and will reduce some of the inflammation. And so, it's not totally like an anti-inflammatory, but it definitely helps.
It helps. Okay.
Yeah, and with the chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia.
I think the
I
main
would
thing.
say do like a body tonic of Spanish sage.
Sage. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and like have her apply it like a couple of times a day. And the thing is the sage will help reduce the fatigue and help with the body's processes. It is a bit of an anti-inflammatory, but it will also calm down the sensory nerves. And a
Okay.
lot of times when you have chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, the sensory nerves are super overstimulated. So it
Okay.
will help calm those things down. I would say probably after that, she would still be using that for a bit, but we'd probably eventually add some form of time depending on how she responds to the sage. But like for a little bit, it would probably just sage is your best bet. I mean, I would use in years past, like if somebody was in a really fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue crisis, I mean, I would just make a strong Spanish sage body tonic and I'd go, here, you know, put this on. And, they could have been in that crisis for like a week or two. And as soon as they put it on within a couple hours, they're like feeling better and up and mobile and doing
Okay.
more, feeling
Just
better. And I mean, it's not a complete magic bullet where it's going to completely make the condition go away, but it makes things a lot more manageable, a lot more bearable. And it also works for reducing the potential of it as time goes by, so that when you start adding some other things, uh, that the person responds better. Because like even if you threw some different things at it that potentially might be helpful for that, if the body is in such a like a kind of crisis state, or I say
Mhm.
crisis, it's usually the sensory nerves are firing just
Yeah.
so hard and the person's really fatigued. And so
Yes.
you got to pull them out of that spiral a little bit before the other treatment approaches kind of work. And
Yeah.
so, my guess for her will be some probably form of thyme or cinnamon. I'm going to say probably like a really soft form of thyme is probably going to be what's going to be good for her. Um, mm, makes me curious. Let me look something up here real quick.
But the time eventually would she do that internally?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
would be internal. And the idea is just to kind of jumpstart like the immune system and um,
And the body tonic, would she put it on all the parts that are inflamed?
I would at least get it on the torso.
Just on the torso. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
Um, I want to say it's the adrenal support that, let me look something up here.
That kind of would make sense because
Yeah,
she's under incredible amounts of
because
stress.
the adrenal support, it has like thyme linalool in it, which is a very soft form of thyme, but also has Ravensara in it, and either
Okay.
Ravensara or Ravensara would
Yeah.
probably be good for her here. But let me just make sure what's in that formula. Yeah, so you have Ravensara, thyme linalool, basil linalool, and then a little super tiny bit of oregano. And the oregano is also kind of toning to the sympathetic part of the nerves, but
Okay.
like that blend helps with. I mean, I used to use it with whiplash patients, like people who were fresh out of a car accident.
Oh,
Within about like 3 or 4 weeks, they start to have kind of like acute kind of chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia kind of symptoms. They fatigue really easy, and their body aches, and there's inflammation, and so that's how that formula started way back in the day, and it was very effective. People would put it on topically and inhale it, but like a lot of times I'd have them take it internally, and oh, man, it works so good.
so it'd be like one
The
or two
basil
drops.
kind of stimulates the mental processes and the
Mhm.
brain, but the timolol and the Ravensara really kind of help with energy levels, and it's very little oregano, so it doesn't really have a lot of heat to it or anything, but
Yeah, okay.
still just enough to kind of tone that nerve, and because like I think there's 27 parts to 1 part oregano, or
Okay.
27, 26. So I mean, it's just got a little tiny bit of oregano in it, and so that would be a good blend for her. Like
So it'd be like
I
1
would
to 2
start with the
drops.
sage. The other thing that you might want to think about for her is daily use of um, either Sylvester pine or white pine on the wrist.
Mm,
I would probably do Sylvester.
okay.
And the reason, like the white pine would help the immune system a little bit more, but Sylvester pine um, will also help the body start producing more cortisone, which would help with the reduction of inflammation in the body. And
Yeah.
it also, um, pine is also fortifying to the adrenals and things. So again, long term, it would help with energy levels and things. It's
Yeah.
not like how time would do it, but over a period of time, like if there's a little bit more brain fatigue, I usually do white time a little bit more. But if there's a little bit more body fatigue, I tend to do more Sylvester pine. And you could do both, but like probably they usually only need one. Like rarely do I have somebody do both.
Yeah.
And so you won't feel like a, a boost up, like when you take some and you're like, okay, I'm ready for the day, but after like 2 or 3 days of using the pine, you'll notice like I'm not as tired as I was. I'm doing a little bit more than I used to, and I'm thinking a little clearer than I used to. It's more like that.
Okay.
And then if she has a lot of stress in her life, and that's kind of subjective, like,
Right.
y- you know, not everybody sees the stress the same way or whatever, but if there is some stress, those
Yeah.
things should help. But if it still needs to be augmented a little bit, some clary sage, like inhaling
Mm-hmm.
it,
Okay.
and or just a couple drops on the chest or something like that could be helpful. But it would be the last thing out of all the things we talk about, the sage body tonic, and all those kinds of things. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Sylvester Pine. I use that all the time for I have
Yeah,
rheumatoid
it's really so
arthritis.
good
It's
for you.
it's
It's
wonderful.
so
Yeah.
good for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the other day I had so much inflammation in my hip and back. I
Uh-huh.
did it wasn't Sylvester Pine, but I did frankincense in my bottle of water, and it was really well amazing. I mean, it got rid of
Right.
almost all the inflammation.
Yeah.
So I was like, why am I
Yeah.
not doing this more?
Yeah, exactly. Frankincense, like for something like that, frankincense, a little ginger, a little something like that, it can be a game changer.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just remembering, and I have tons of frankincense. I just have to remember every day.
Oh, good.
The other thing I was going to ask you
Hmm.
too. So I'm a little bit behind with some of these classes, but I did the lymphatic recording.
Sure.
That was from 2 weeks ago, I think, the
Yeah, I think so.
Monday
Yeah.
class. Um, and after that, that's kind of when a lot of this inflammation came up. And it
Hmm.
wasn't just in the hips and back, it was in the hands as well. And because I know that kind of helps with releasing toxins, doing the lymphatic stuff, right?
Yeah, that one did a little bit of everything. It wasn't like a super,
Okay.
because you can do super specifics, but it does make the body detoxify a little bit and everything.
Okay.
So, it could be a little bit of that where, your body maybe started detoxifying and the lymphatic system could only handle so much or,
Yeah, it's better, thankfully, the
oh,
past like
good.
day or two or something. So
Yeah.
that's been good. And doing a lot of I think you had recommended doing nettle. So I've been doing nettle
Yeah,
too.
nettle's another good one to do, and for something like that. And did your urine like get like stinky or dark or anything like that?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so you definitely were detoxing then.
Detoxing. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because usually won't last very long, but part of how your body kicks some of that off is, you pee it out. And if you're going through and you kind of it's almost like a heavy smell or the urine's a bit darker than normal, yeah, you're probably kicking something out. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
um, the last question I had
Hmm.
was so again I did the recording. You did the fire initiation. I think that was on
Hmm.
Sunday.
Sure.
Um, so I've done similar-ish things like through different shamanic
Hmm.
practices.
Sure.
Is that what that was? Or because I know you said you do it yearly, does it
Yeah, it's kind of like, they call it an initiation. And, I think through the years at different times, people had done it in different ways. The founder did it in a very particular way, but, it was tied to her and her processes. And so,
okay.
for me, it's kind of that way too. I kind of do it based on our processes and things, but it's to help strengthen the person's drive on like a spiritual path, like their spiritual growth and their spiritual evolution and things of that nature. And so, um, the fire can be very spiritualizing, can be very purifying,
Yeah.
and can also be very stimulating to the mental faculties. So your ability to perceive more subtleties, more of the higher nature, more of, the Buddha nature or the soul, or however you would like to say it, in doing those practices, it becomes easier. Like in the practice, we were going through and doing our steps and then I had people being surrounded by the white light, and then I had them visualize themselves in the sun. And,
Yeah.
the thing with the candle flame, I had people staring at a candle flame for a while while we did our process, is,
Mhm.
it helps to stimulate all those things, but it's also very activating to the heart, and it also helps to stimulate the intuitive aspects of the mind. And then taking it where you visualize yourself in the sun, it's very stimulating to the mental body. Like it's
Mhm.
purifying and stimulating both at the same time. But
Okay.
if you were to look, like everybody's pineal gland and the mental permanent seed, they just, they go off the charts at that point. And so, different traditions do versions of that, and when I used to travel with the medicine man, we definitely did things of that nature. I don't know that sometimes we even had names for it.
Yeah.
We would
Yeah.
go through and do it, and the Hindu tradition definitely does it. And in the Buddhist practices, we even have like special little tools that we use when we do fire ceremonies. And I have a special hat and like the whole 9 yards, you know. And so, but I was just doing the Astara version of it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, it could have different faces and a little bit of different look, but usually the idea is very similar. Usually, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because I did it last night, and yesterday was the new moon. So I
Hmm.
also kind of wrote out some intentions, and
Hmm.
it was when I went really deep into that meditation. I mean, almost so deep I was like dropping out, like not even
Hmm.
hearing you anymore.
Hmm.
And then when I woke up today, it was interesting because I had a whole new perspective on what the intentions were about and what I wanted to, so
Yeah.
what I was
Oh,
working
perfect.
on. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was really
Perfect.
effective, really
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah. Perfect. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the thing too, is, you know, we start off with one idea of what needs to happen, and then you kind of get in it, and you kind of shift, and you get different perspectives, and you kind of like perceive things in a different way, and sometimes the action stays the same, but the motivation and the intention behind it is very, very different. Like I had a teacher that he used to have us watch movies to
Mhm.
to process like ideas like this. And there was this one where it was about this guy who was a missionary, back in the old days, the Indian cowboy and Indian days. And he starts off with this thing about going to this area and converting all the Indians in this area because, they kept saying they're like savages and this
Mhm.
and that. And his whole journey there, he's traveling with a group of Indians and, has really started to bond with them and they've protected him. And, it's just all these things happened. And, when he gets there, it's nothing like what he thought it was going to be. And, they're sick and they have some disease that's like how we had COVID, like it was their
Yeah.
version of that.
Yeah.
And they're all getting these fevers and everything. And he kind of just stands there and stares and starts to tear up. And he's there to serve now, but it wasn't like to convert them like
Mhm.
before. He was just, they're suffering. I'm just there to help them now. So the by the time he got there, you could say it got more genuine. You know what I mean? Like he started off
Mhm.
with this like kind of intellectual idea. And the point that the teacher was making was that, we all do that. We start off with this intellectual idea of, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And,
Right.
as you kind of go through your journey, you have these realizations and, perceptions and, when you finally do it, from the outside, it looks the same, but you're very different on the inside when you're doing it. And, that you even make that statement, I would say you're right on the right path, like, because you're having that experience. So I would say good for you. Like that is very
Yeah.
much the right path.
Yeah, it's funny, the rational mind tries to think around it, and
Oh
some
yeah,
of these
totally.
you
Yeah,
you
totally.
just can't. It's just
Yeah.
about the energy and
Right.
emotion and
Right.
yeah, it's very yeah, very
Yeah.
interesting. So with that, because I know it's up on the website, the video. I mean, is it something that could be done
Which
more than once a
which
year?
video is the
At
Oh,
the
is it
fire
up? Is
ceremony.
it up already?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you could do it again and again. Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was a pretty strong little practice, even afterwards. I was like,
Yes.
yeah, I felt fine. That was very good. And then I had to be careful because there's stairs at a start. I had to be a little careful going
Oh
down
yeah.
the stairs. Yeah, I was a little out of my, like I want to say out of my body, but I was like expanded. And let's just say I wasn't always sure where my feet were.
Yeah, well, I had a similar experience with the Wee Sock
Yeah. Oh
video
yeah.
too. I was like, wow, like two of them in a month.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. And then all the angel work intensifies it.
Oh my gosh, yes, that's right. I've been
Yeah.
doing all the angel work on
All the
top of that.
angel work is
Yes.
just, we even, we do a little in-person ceremony where we go in person like usually Saturday after the class, and we did that. And because we had done the angel work all day, it was
Yeah.
very different. It was just this really, because we had already been almost like kind of doing ceremony all day, and so it was just this like soft and gentle, where sometimes it feels like a borderline exorcism or something.
Yeah.
This last Saturday was very just mellow and soft, and it was because of all the angel work. Yeah,
Yeah, I felt that. I was able to do some of that on
yeah,
Saturday. I really liked the angel Sophia, really
yeah.
beautiful
Oh my
energy
God,
with her.
yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love me some Sophia as well. Yeah, yeah.
Yep, I still have about 48
And
other ones to work with. So,
and then, when we did the angel talk on Sunday, I don't know if you caught that or not, but
no, unfortunately, I didn't.
so watch it, like I'll present it again, but it's part two of the universal angelic process.
Oh, very good.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we'll put it in with plan and everything, so you don't have to chase it down. But I
Okay.
did start unveiling like phase two. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. And will that video be up on Astara
It
or?
is, and I just posted the link
Oh, you
there
did.
in the chat. So
Okay.
you
Oh, great.
guys-
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
link for the fire initiation and the angels and angel.
And we got into it like probably like I talked for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and then we started practicing the process. So I mean, it's not like you have to sit through a bunch of lecture and then get
Oh,
it at
yeah.
the end. I started it almost at the very beginning.
Beginning of it. Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, great. Looking forward to that. So I love
Yeah.
working with the angels
Yeah,
too.
me
So
too.
yeah, thank you for all
You're
that.
so
And
welcome.
for that gigantic book too, the encyclopedia.
It's getting bigger and
It's
bigger.
getting bigger and bigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been interesting learning about all these different angels that I haven't heard
Yeah.
of before. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really cool stuff. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Um, what's the best way to do meditation, spiritual practices? Usually it's recommended to do every day, and sometimes it feels like on autopilot.
Yeah, like I always like to do the rotational thing, because like just doing the same thing over and over again, it does go into a bit of autopilot. And if you can do daily, great. But even if you do 3 or 4 times a week, but both with the oils that we do at Plant Prana and the practices that we do with Astara, even if you just join us with our streams, um, most times you're getting 2 or 3 times already. And um, even though we have kind of techniques as like a parameter, we still kind of mix it up, and there's a lot more depth into some of the practices than just the basic technique. And so it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier. By mixing it up and going deeper, it keeps you out of that autopilot, or um, I would say that the intellect begins to kind of impersonate the practice. And so I mean, I think that's what you're calling autopilot too, where you just, yeah, you're doing it, but you're not really always necessarily getting the benefit of it. And so mixing things up, um, it kind of keeps you out of your head about it. At least for me, that's always worked the best. And so, there's things that we're always trying to target and do, go deeper into the heart, have greater levels of expansion both out of the body and in the body, the cultivation of concentration and awareness and oneness. All of these are being developed in separate way, but then they kind of merge together. And you know, the thing that we try to do with the streams is so that you don't have to figure out how to do it on your own. You jump in and just do it with us, and I'm mixing it up for you guys. And as time goes by, we keep adding deeper aspects of the practice so that you can join in, or if you're feeling like it's too much, you still have recordings and things that you can use. And so, we try to make it so that it's a lot more interactive with us rather than having to try to sit down and make yourself do things on your own. Yeah, the thing that I like with the oils is the oils will blow through the intellect very quickly. And so for me, if you think about it, even a lot of times with practices, they'll start burning incense or they'll start doing something like that. And again, it's that same idea. And so even doing the oil practices are different kinds of meditations, you could say. And so if you're kind of doing even a little bit of stuff with this, you're already doing some regular practice then.
I did an advanced technique with helichrysum. What effect would that have?
Advanced technique, I'm not sure what that is.
You can type in to explain or Auric.
Yeah, I mean, it will have a little bit of a cleansing effect, but the blends themselves that are for Auric programming are made to go after the programs within the energy field. Using a single oil like that will have a little bit of a cleansing effect, but it won't necessarily affect the Auric programs.
I do have a chart that shows the angels/chakra relationship, which angels help with each chakra. A chart like that would help to quickly understand the correspondences so I could more easily create a process for specific emotional and stress issues. I could create one for myself, but I thought you might already have one.
Yeah, that's starting to feel a little too intellectual about the process. And I would say that the working the energy is more important than trying to intellectually have it be about going after a symptom or a particular emotion. Um, I mean, you can do something like that, but I would suggest don't. You're pigeonholing yourself and you're not allowing yourself to get the full benefit of working with the angels. But you know,
What was in today's skin support blend? Clicking on it to see if we might have it on the website already or not.
yeah, give me just a sec here.
Oh, somebody had it for us.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. I'll paste it for you guys, but I'll say it aloud as well. So skin support is helichrysum, frankincense, kunzia, and geranium.
That sounds delicious.
It was too. Like just inhaling, I was like, I don't know what's in this, but it is yum. So that was nice. Is it okay to use Arjuna tincture if one is already taking a statin for cholesterol? Any particular amount or frequency?
Yeah, I think it's still very, very good. The statin and Arjuna aren't necessarily doing the same things. So I, I like Arjuna for the physical heart. Even like for preventing, uh, you know, particular severe health issues, but even post-severe health issues. Like there were studies done with people that had had a heart attack, and the use of Arjuna afterwards definitely increased heart function. So the statin is helping to reduce the cholesterol and deposits and things, but I would still use Arjuna, you know. That's one that I actually try to use every day. Sometimes I forget, but I noticed that my body is also like calmer when I use that. Yeah.
And did you say the amount? Sorry.
Like a dropper, at least a dropper full a day. But you could do a dropper in the morning, dropper in the evening. Yeah. I it increases the Arjuna increases vagal tone specifically for the heart muscle. And so I like it also for that. You know, the heart has the ability to repair itself and isn't in a particular stress state and things of that nature. So yeah, I really like it for that.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
I think those are our questions and shares for the Q&A. Is there any practice?
Yeah, so somebody was talking about they're using helichrysum, so let's use like maybe helichrysum or sandalwood, aloes, clary sage, maybe even marjoram or hyssop. I think those are a good amount of choices.
Might have missed one. Helichrysum, sandalwood, clary sage, marjoram, hyssop. I feel like there was something in between.
Aloes.
Aloes.
Yeah, tuberose, rose, neroli, melissa.
Nice.
Okay, so grab whatever oil you're going to use. Okay, so before you start inhaling, just put your awareness on your front heart. Start going a little deeper into the heart. Maintain where you're at and just be still. Go a little bit deeper in the heart. You're still not inhaling yet. Just go a little deeper into the heart. Maintain your awareness with where you're at in the heart. Start taking some nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Whatever oil you're using, you're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. You're still inhaling. Your awareness is on the front heart. Let everything go. Let the inhalation go. Let your awareness on the front heart go. Just be still. Where do you feel it in your body? Where do you feel something in your body? Observe your body. Wherever you feel it, observe. You're still observing it in your body. And then let that go. Just let that go. Your awareness is on the back heart, the area between the shoulder blades. Whatever oil you're using, begin inhaling that oil with your awareness on the back heart. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Your awareness is on your navel. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the navel. And then your awareness is up on your brain. Move your awareness to the brain. And then move your awareness to the top of your head, the crown. Move your awareness to 12 inches above your head, thereabouts. Move your awareness about a foot above your head. And then just be still, be aware, and let go. Just let go for a moment. Okay, keep your eyes closed. Again, feel it in your body. Where do you feel it in your body? Don't necessarily inhale yet. Just observe the body. Wherever you feel it in the body, begin inhaling. And then just pause and be still. How was that? So, I know we do the process with the back, heart, navel, and crown, back, heart, navel, and brain sometimes, but there's more intense ways of doing it that has a deeper effect either on the healing process or on our spiritual growth or healing something psychologically, and going beyond just looking at it from the point of view of like, hey, I have this symptom, how do I address it? It's more about like how to shift the body. And we're doing things where we do look at symptoms and we treat it, but also there's times where we step away from that approach and look at trying to shift that. Yes, it addresses those things, but not in the way that the mind thinks it should happen. And, we'll be exploring this over a period of time, both with Astara and with Plant Prana. And so deeper and deeper levels of practice with this. So anyway, so we're going to move over to the prayer, petition, blessing, and we're actually going to do a version of this, but actually with mantra. And so if you want to join us for that. It'll be just a little 15-minute thing, and we'll bless and generate some good karma and help some people and also do our process. And those of you that did the angel class, be it the first time around or on Saturday, we are doing our study group tomorrow night. And then this coming up weekend is the Mechanics of Light, which is one that is a free class to begin with. So hopefully you can join us for the weekend. So take care.